Hello, class. It has been a wonderful semester, and today we are going to do a little final exam review. Uh, we've talked about a lot, and there's about 20 things that you need to know. So let's start with them. All right, contracts. It's by far the most heavily tested of any subject matter in terms of this class, or shoot, any legal class. Contracts is the basis of it all. So you need to know the elements of a contract, okay? Elements of a contract. You need to understand that certain ones are, like assent. General assent is an element of a contract. All contracts have to have consideration. That is an element. So you'll need to know the elements of a contract. Uh, okay, so there's this whole thing when we're talking about contracts. We also need to know is there's the person who makes the offer. Okay, so that's the contract. So if I say to you, I offer to buy your car for $1,000, I am the offeror. I made the offer. You are the offeree. So that is the person. Offeree is the person to which an offer was made. Now, you can accept or decline, all kinds of things. You could counteroffer. So I say, I would like to buy your car for $1,000, and then you say to me, no, but I'll take $2,000. Now our roles have flipped. The person who was originally the offeror, which was me, now becomes an offeree because you've declined my offer and you've made your own offer. Now you're the offeror and I'm the offeree. But anyways, what you really need to know is the person that makes the offer is the offeror. The person that accepts an offer or has an offer directed at them is the offeree. We also need to know contracts as far as whether they're valid or not. Like, what is the definition of a valid contract? What are the elements of a valid contract? That's important for you to know. Definitely want to know, since we're talking about valid contracts, what is the difference between a void contract and a voidable contract? I mean, because they are definitely different. So we want to make sure that we understand the difference. Just because something is voidable doesn't mean it's void. You'll need to know that. We talked about the definitions of two other types of contracts. Something you'll definitely want to know is bilateral contracts versus unilateral contracts, okay? And it's super easy to really understand. Bilateral, well, in general, I mean, bi is two. So two or more people is bilateral. Unilateral, which is unilateral, that obviously stands for one, like a unicycle, okay, is a one-wheeled bicycle. A unilateral contract is a one-person contract. So how do you have a one-person contract? Very simple. A reward, okay? So I promise to pay $50 for the return of my dog. Well, you didn't promise anything to me. I just made the promise that I would pay if you found the dog, but you're not promising to find the dog. Like, you're not in trouble. You didn't breach because you didn't find the dog. I've just made a reward. So a reward is a one-person agreement. And the only person making the agreement is the offeror. The person saying, hey, $50, go find my dog. Other things I want to know about. Okay. The definitions of quasi-contract, output contract, and requirements contract. You'll need to know what all three of those mean, okay? Quasi, output, requirements. Quasi is spelled Q-U-A-S-I, quasi-contract. Other things in contracts that we'll need to know for the exam is, okay, this is actually very, very important. How do you terminate an offer? So I say to you, I will buy your car for $1,000. Okay, that's pretty easy enough. Now, how do I retract the offer? Like, what types of ways can I do that? And there are plenty of them. I mean, they're in your notes, they're in previous videos. You'll have to look it up in your exam if need be. But how do you terminate an offer? I'll give you one. I revoke it. So if I say to you, this is just one of them, there are plenty of them. If I say to you, $1,000 for your car, and then you don't accept, you're like, and I say, I changed my mind, offer's off the table. Well, I revoked the offer. That'd be one way, but there are other ways as well, and you'll need to know them. Couple other things. One that's very important inside of contract law is what's called the UCC. Okay, the UCC, and that stands for the Uniform Commercial Code. And what that is the piece of, I guess, I don't want to call it legislation, but it kind of is legislation because most states have codified it and made it part of the law. But it is the law that governs the sale of goods, is really what it does. So you'll need to know that. Additionally, we need to understand capacity, okay? So capacity is the ability to enter into a contract, and this will be tested. So for instance, a minor can enter into a contract. They can, okay? I mean, they can, but they can only enter into contracts for certain things, okay? So like if I am a minor and I go to the supermarket and the supermarket says a candy bar is $1, and I am a minor and I take the candy bar and I hand it to the lady with $1, we have a contract. Some minors can contract, for almost anything. But the main ones are necessities. Health, education, food. It gets a little crazy when you're talking about other things. Like say it's a car. Okay, a car's, we think of it as a necessity, but it's not. So someone under the age of 18, I mean, technically they can enter into a contract, but they can get out of it. That's that whole, remember we were talking just 2 minutes ago, the difference between a void contract and a voidable contract. This would be an example of a voidable contract. The contract isn't void just because you're a minor, but it can become voidable if the minor decides to attempt to revoke their obligations under the contract. So let's kind of get that picture in our minds. Capacity. Another capacity issue would be mental incapacity. So if I am, I have some type of mental illness, and you know that, and you're taking advantage of me, or even if you're not taking advantage of me, but at the end of the day, a reasonable person would have understood that I wouldn't sell you whatever the item is that's worth $500 for $5, and it's based upon someone's mental illness. I mean, that's a capacity issue, okay? Can't do that. Fraud. Got to know the elements of fraud, okay? So there's fraud is highly tested, and it will be on your exam. Another acronym we need to know is LLC, okay? So this week we talked about business entities. So what I want you to do is you'll need to look up what an LLC actually stands for. And one of the benefits of an LLC is it has personal liability protection, okay? It has that. Where some business entities don't have personal liability protection. So let's talk about what is personal liability protection. That is where I'm in the business of, say, cutting grass. Okay, so I cut the lawns at this hotel. Okay, and I'm cutting the grass at this hotel, and upon finishing cutting the grass, I am loading up my lawnmower onto my trailer, and all that stuff is going well, and something falls out of the hotel, like a piece of molding on the side of the building falls off the hotel and hits my lawnmower on my trailer and destroys it. Okay. Personal liability says the lawnmower guy can sue the hotel for the damage to his lawnmower, but he can't sue the person who owns the hotel. That's personal liability protection, okay? And that's what LLCs have, and other entities have as well, and some don't, but it will be tested. So you want to know which business entities have personal liability protection and which ones don't. And additionally, we need to know when we're talking about business entities, we have LLCs and corporations and partnerships and sole proprietors. What document governs each of those? Because it's different. I'll give you a hint. A partnership is governed by a partner agreement. Okay? So we need to kind of know the different entities and which document governs each of them. So that's pretty much it for our review. I mean, what it is I'm not trying to tell you all the answers. I mean, we still have a week of class. I want you to look up those answers and learn the answers to those questions. And I wish you the best of luck on your exam. Take your time. Do your research prior to it. And good luck.